news leader. Channel 7 Eyewitness News at 11.
Sorrow and anger and raw emotions flooding the streets of Brooklyn tonight at the funeral for Leiby Kletzky.
I just have to be here, even as a present.
The 8-year-old boy looking for his mom on his way home from camp and getting lost, and instead finding his killer. A gruesome and senseless murder, allegedly by a man with no real criminal background, but with a troubled personal backstory.
And good evening, everyone, at 11 o'clock. I'm Bill Ritter.
And I'm Sade Bedarenwal. There are several new developments tonight as police piece together clues in one of the most horrific murders in our area in recent memory. Tonight, the suspect, Leiby Kletzky, was charged with murder. Investigators stayed at the suspect's home tonight, removing evidence. This as thousands of people from several communities come together for the funeral of 8-year-old Leiby Kletzky.
Tonight, Eyewitness News reporters Lucy Yang, Jeff Pegues, Carolina Lead, and Phil Lipoff are all following these new developments. We're going to begin with Phil. He's at the funeral in Borough Park. Phil?
And Bill, the funeral is actually going on at this hour. It started about an hour late, and it's running long as well. When the funeral service is complete, we're told Leiby Kletzky's casket will be carried 2 blocks down 56. They will make a left onto 15th and come here to the family's home and then on to burial. Tonight, it was a sea of black, and not just in what people were wearing, but how they were feeling in their hearts. Thousands gathered in Borough Park for 8-year-old Leiby Kletzky, his traditional wooden casket carried on shoulders through the crowd. A funeral as big as the collective broken heart here. The rabbi of the shul where Leiby worshipped with his family, crying from his very first word in Yiddish. Quoting scripture and telling the crowd this was not Leiby's fault. The rabbi tried his best to comfort the thousands who gathered here to pay their respect and to try to make sense out of something that can never make sense.
I want to tell you, to comfort the community at this point or the parents would be impossible.
He is not the family's rabbi, but his words are for all here, including Nechama Buff, who lost a child to cancer years ago. The pain is still in her heart, but she has hope for Leiby's family.
I hope not for these parents, but there's always a feeling of guilt. What could I have done differently? You always replay in your mind the last time you saw the person. What did we say to each other? What could I have said? Did I kiss him? Did I kiss him enough? Did I kiss him the day before? You know, you never stop asking those questions.
A senseless, violent act. A little boy stolen off the street, his life snuffed out, his body dismembered. But on this night, made whole by a community full of grief, and yet full of love as well. Love for a little boy who was taken way too soon. Indeed, this, as you know, is a very tight-knit community, so I'm told they will rally around each other to try to get through this difficult time, but no doubt they will be dealing with this particular tragedy for years to come. We're live tonight in Borough Park. Phil Lipoff, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Phil, thank you. This murder may have happened in an Orthodox Jewish community, but in a city where everyone walks on the street, the pain and sorrow of this particular crime that could have happened to anyone is felt by everyone. So more than Orthodox Jews came to grieve tonight in Brooklyn. Eyewitness News reporter Carolina Lead with that part of our coverage. She's also in Borough Park. Carolina?
Well, Bill, at first it was very difficult to see anything but people dressed in traditional Orthodox Jewish attire and speaking Yiddish to one another in the crowd of so many thousands of people. But when we looked just a little bit closer, we could see people of all walks of life who came here to share in their pain. A mother's cry is every mother's tears. That's how Angela Correa described this grief. She has a 19-year-old son. Her friend Diana Finley has an 11-year-old son.
I was so touched by what happened here today for that child and for that mother and that family, that the kid, he asked to go home that one time.
In a crowd of thousands of Orthodox Jewish mourners stood Christians and Muslims shoulder to shoulder. Religion, race, and background all forgotten, erased by the pain of a child, a family, and a community.
I live near the borderline of the Jewish community, but it just touched me, so I don't know why.
I felt like I need to be there. Somehow, someone needs to know that it's not about Jewish community, it's about parents who lost a child, and it's just devastating.
As the hearse drove through the sea of mourners, they focused on the Borough Park boy, not the monster who murdered him. They remember the innocence of little Leiby Kletzky, who begged his parents to walk just 7 blocks from day camp. a route he memorized and even practiced with them. It was his first and only taste of being a big boy. Leiby Kletzky would have turned 9 years old at the end of this month. Thousands of searchers hoped and believed that he would get back home to celebrate that birthday with his parents and with his siblings. Reporting live in Borough Park, I'm Carolina Lead, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Carolina, thank you. Well, tonight investigators didn't take a break. The suspect, Leiby Aaron, now charged with murder while detectives hauled away evidence from his home, including the refrigerator where part of the victim's remains were discovered. Eyewitness News reporter Jeff Begase is in East Flatbush outside the police precinct. Jeff?
And Sade, just a few minutes ago, the suspect was driven away from the 67th precinct here behind me. One law enforcement source telling me that he was taken to the hospital for DNA testing. What investigators are trying to do is determine whether the suspect can be tied to other missing persons cases. As investigators press the suspect for answers inside the 67th precinct, a law enforcement source characterizes Leiby Aaron's demeanor through it all as cold and showing a lack of emotion, despite being arrested and now charged with the gruesome murder of 8-year-old Leiby Kletzky.
Our condolences to the family of the victim, and at this time we're going to let the judicial process take its course.
Right now, investigators are building their case against him. Tonight, dressed from head to toe in hazardous materials suits, investigators searched the 35-year-old's Kensington home for evidence. Among the items removed from the home, a section of a refrigerator, perhaps one of the most important pieces of evidence. Police say overnight, Aaron led them to what was inside.
When detectives asked where the boy was, Aaron nodded toward the kitchen, where detectives observed blood on the freezer handle of the refrigerator. Inside the refrigerator was a cutting board with 3 carving knives with blood on them. Some of the remains were in the freezer.
Police also found body parts in a suitcase that was pulled from a dumpster. It is a nightmare ending to a 36-hour search for the missing little boy. The search began on Monday in this Jewish Orthodox community. Leiby was captured on surveillance tape, walking to meet his mother. With his parents' blessing, he'd set out alone after day camp. But police say he got lost and asked Leiby Aaron for help. Investigators say he ended up in Aaron's car and eventually in his home.
There is no indication at this time that the victim was known to the suspect previously. It was just happenstance and a terrible fate for this young boy.
Investigators have fanned out across the area today looking for information, including whether the suspect took the 8-year-old to a wedding in Muncie. Sounds bizarre, but investigators are looking into that as well. And one source telling me the couple that got married doesn't recall seeing the little boy. We're live in East Flatbush, outside the 67th precinct. Jeff Begase, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Jeffrey, thank you. We'll take another closer look at Leiby Aaron, who, like the victim, is an Orthodox Jew. Tonight, his ex-wife in Memphis, speaking for the first time.
I'm just now finding out information. I've been in total shock. I'd spoken to him not long ago, and everything seemed to be fine.
As for the couple, they were married for just a year. They divorced in 2007. She filed for an order of protection at some point against her husband. As for Aaron, he grew up in Brooklyn, moved to Memphis after meeting his future wife on a Jewish dating website. 2 years later, he moved back to Brooklyn, worked as a maintenance supply clerk, and lived with his father, stepmother, and his brother. His only criminal background, as far as we can tell, public urination and not wearing a seatbelt. Not exactly gateway crimes to murder. Sade?
Well, this crime has many moms and dads questioning their parenting. Should they allow their kids to walk home alone from school or run an errand to a nearby store? Some parents tonight setting new rules. Eyewitness News' Lucy Gang joins us from Park Slope. Lucy?
Well, Sade, it's safe to say many parents hug their children a little longer, a little tighter tonight, and understandably so. But what is the collective lesson to be learned from such a nightmare? 9-year-old Harry Grad asked permission this summer to walk alone the 4 blocks from his summer camp bus stop to his Park Slope home. His parents were about to say yes today. Then the horrible news broke about another little Brooklyn boy who will never see his family again.
I will be picking him up from the camp bus every day, and he's not going to be walking home on his own.
It is a natural reaction to draw a more protective arm around our children when tragedy strikes. The New York Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children uses 12 years old as the benchmark for when kids can travel alone. They see this monstrous killing as a reminder to warn those most innocent about strangers.
Kick and bite and scream and make as much noise as possible so they can't take you anywhere.
That's exactly what Esther Soleil was doing with her 11-year-old daughter tonight.
The child who is alone by himself in public is the most vulnerable potential victim.
I was scared, and I told my mom I didn't want to walk home alone anymore.
Certainly can understand that sentiment. Now, a number of parents told me today that the most important thing they did this afternoon was talk to their children about safety and about being street smart. They also tell me that come this fall, their kids will walk to school, but with a pack of friends and not alone. We're live in Brooklyn tonight. Lucy Yang, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Okay, Lucy, thank you. And the next step is for Leiby Aaron to be arraigned. Eyewitness News will be there. Plus, we'll continue to follow the investigation as it unfolds right here on Channel 7 and at 7online.com.